Shalom family. So I would highly recommend that you go on my channel and go and watch the timeline videos where I really go into it in detail with dates and everything, talking about Daniel's 70th weeks, how that factors into our timeline, where we're standing now in 2023, how the cycle ahead looks for 7 years, and all those things. It will really break it down with history, facts, biblical interpretation, a lot. But I want to touch on this just quickly and lightly to just point out the fact that yes, there is indeed 7 years lying ahead, a final week. If we start in Daniel 9:25, therefore know and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince shall there be 7 and 62 weeks, and again the streets will be built up in troublesome times. So 62 and 7, 69 weeks, but they make a point of splitting the 7 and the 62. That decree, and I can explain that longer in a different video, went out in 457, and that 62 and the 7 takes you all the way through to 27 AD, when Messiah begins his ministry, and he's come. All right, so why 62 and 7? The first 7 weeks was for the rebuilding time to get Jerusalem and its walls rebuilt. That is the time it took, that first 7. From then, 62 weeks to Messiah the Prince. Now, if we go to verse 26 here, and after the 62 weeks shall be cut off Messiah, but not for himself. He died for all of us. After his ministry, he died for all of us. On 30 AD, he died, and he rose again. And the city and the sanctuary shall be destroyed by the people of the prince who is to come. Now in 70 AD, 40 years after the crucifixion, and that is also explained in the timeline video exactly why those time periods are like that. The city was destroyed, the temple was destroyed, everything by the Romans. And it is the people of the prince who is to come. We are looking at a revived Roman Empire that is taking place right in front of our eyes. And Antichrist will come from that lineage. It is all there. The prince who is to come. And it shall end with a flood, and the end of the war is determined desolations. Right? We go to 927 that everybody keeps quoting. But we've now worked from 25 so you can understand the time frame. So 69 weeks, which is 69 by 7, which is 483 years, and you're looking at 360-day prophetic years the way they should be. So all of those years are done. There's 1 week left, and there's a gap in between from when Messiah rose again, the church age gap, and then that final week can begin. There is still a final week. After Messiah was cut off, not for himself, and the city was destroyed, Jerusalem, the temple, everything. After all that, very next verse, and he, the prince who is to come, shall confirm or strengthen a covenant with many for 1 week. But in the middle of the week, he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering, and on the wing of abominations shall be one who makes desolate, and even until the consummation which is determined is poured out on the desolate. So he's going to make a 7-year peace treaty, people. That's 7 years. They're finally going to get what they've been crying out for the last 2-3 years. Peace and security, peace and safety, peace and stability. He will present them with it. And in the first 3.5 years, Israel can rebuild their temple. They'll be living as if in unwalled villages. They'll be at peace. They'll all be coming home. Everything will just seem fantastic because he has penned this perfect agreement. The whole world is happy. Everything is moving forward. They're tidying up all the messes, and everything's pushing into the New World Order system, building towards the halfway mark. At the halfway mark, he will truly reveal himself for who he is. And that is when he will demand worship and that he is God, and he will out and out try and destroy the Jews. He will desecrate the third temple. He will declare himself God and demand worship. The mark of the beast final version will roll out. The 2 witnesses will be killed. All these things will take place, and it will go into the final 3.5 years, which is known as the Great Tribulation. The 7 years, the final week, is the tribulation. The last 3.5 is the Great Tribulation. And then God will come and deal with them all once and for all. So Daniel 70 weeks, 457, 458 BC, 7 weeks of rebuilding, 49 years, and then 483 years, 62 weeks, to Messiah the Prince. And this is why he was so disappointed that the learned men and the prophets and the rabbis and the teachers did not do the maths and expect him to be born in Bethlehem and arrive. They missed it because they weren't Bereans. They weren't studying the word. They weren't searching out the truth. They weren't calculating like the Magi calculated and all those people. They missed it and they messed it up. And it's sad. But now we are not missing it because we are calculating and we're looking and we're watching and we're awake and the Holy Spirit is guiding us. There is 7 years left, people. God works on sabbatical cycles. He doesn't work by halves. He works by wholes. And that period is the final week for them to finalize transgressions and everything, to wrap it up, the story of Israel, and bring forth the remnant and be done. And that is what lies ahead. So keep looking up, keep watching, and again, I'll do a longer video where I'll teach on this more in depth shortly. Shalom.